for any tea for any decline so me obi bia akwaba eba chani so me pacho hanum a daily update TV ebusuya me pacho the minority, that is the Afenyo marking and then call for no womu kokwa pai say woman ya brig the power parliament when I didn't know womu any brig the parliament or kokwa pai almost say the pay emma the vetting of Bafu Boni, that is the acting chief justice of the Republic of Ghana. Him say the president of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and nominated Bafu Boni as the chief justice, and Hintimeka is a minokas or nominated chief justice. I also call parliament, not parliament, and so through the vetting committee, omototo na non seminar or more share the competence in the Yama or deba on board. And we here or media call the chambers and I said the House of Parliament and now Omako Swabana Parliament. And so I jet to say one or the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Now you know him in Yama AC regarding to the former Chief Justice Gertrude Sakitokunu. In case yana the Afenyo makers the minority Afenyo marking and call for my site almost say or more botches or more person or more blockade Emma said the acting Chief Justice I friend Bafu Boni or no crown own to member parliament in Pona vetting crowd were passing through now. Ebusia almost sorry or more cast answer me the majority MPs so that is Afenyo marking other NDC MPs so I'm sorry giddy almost what I say here and here ebusia makasa kakra yenko tie nsem na nkasa nchire mu yewia ye de yenkomo na ebeto aso nyankopon nchire obi bia na onye obi akase me de obi bia ase
from that and take it to parliament right now because the minority is this afternoon demanding the suspension of the vetting of Paul Bafo-Boni as Chief Justice until all outstanding legal challenges concerning the removal of the Chief Justice or former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonum are resolved in court. In a motion filed at the Speaker's office, we understand the NPP lawmakers are asking the Speaker to hold all processes by the Appointments Committee, citing current cases at the High Court and the ECOWAS Court. The Appointment Committee has scheduled to vet the Chief Justice nominee on November 10, 2025. Let's connect right now with Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Christian Yale for a bit more on this particular subject matter. Chris, we know the removed CJ has about 3 pending cases in court. Walk us through, if you can, those cases and what the minority is saying. Hello, Chris. Can you hear me? It does appear Chris cannot hear us at this particular point in time. We'll seek to rectify the connection with him because there are quite a number of schools of thought as to whether or not these pending applications in respective courts, some the High Court, some the Supreme Court, amongst others, could be subject upon which the hand of Parliament can be stayed in carrying out its constitutionally mandated function in terms of vetting. And there are those who say, yes, it should. There are those who say it shouldn't. But let's try one more time with that connection with Christopher, or Christian Yale, I should say. Christian, I was asking if you could walk us through what the argument of the minority is vis-a-vis the pending cases of the removed Chief Justice.
About 5 members from the minority caucus have submitted this motion at the office of the clerk to Parliament, making these demands. But just to run through what we know so far pertaining to the pending cases filed by the removed Chief Justice, we know that there is one case that she had filed at the Supreme Court, and that particular case indeed was challenging the removal process by the Puaman Committee. I mean, I've heard a number of lawyers make the argument that that substantive case at the Supreme Court concerning the Puaman Committee's duty is actually moot as of now because the committee has already finished its work, or part of it, which has led to her removal from office. But we also know that at the High Court, for instance, she has had one case that was seeking to make the case that if the president has removed her from office as Chief Justice, she still has that right to remain as a judge on the Supreme Court bench. But we know the Attorney General had responded to that, for instance, and demanded that that case be transferred to the Supreme Court so that that constitutional interpretation involved in that particular bit be dealt with as to whether when she is removed as a Supreme Court justice or a Chief Justice, she can still remain as a Supreme Court judge. And there again, Eric, we know that there is that other case that has to do with her demand that she be reinstated, and also requesting that even the appointment of Paul Bafuboni as Chief Justice and his vetting be put on hold. We know that last week, for instance, during a media engagement with the press corps, that was even last 2 weeks, the minority leader had lambasted the Parliament Committee, describing it as unconstitutional and unfair, the processes that led to the removal of the former CJ. And so this motion that we have cited, which I have a copy of right now, Eric, is saying that in pursuant to Articles 1101 and then 125 to 127 of the Constitution, and also even that of Article 1441 and 146, Parliament should, as a matter of fact, cause the appointment committee to halt any proceedings concerning the vetting of Paul Bafuboni as Chief Justice. And also, as a matter of fact, they are making the case that all of those cases that I've cited at the High Court and even that at the ECOWAS Court be dealt with, so that these outstanding legal battles be dealt with before any possible consideration of a new Chief Justice can proceed. Eric.
And it's interesting that this argument is being made because it feeds directly into further argument as to whether or not pending cases before the courts can stay the hand of Parliament. Has there been a reaction from the majority side to this latest motion, if we can describe it as that, put before the Speaker asking for the suspension of this vetting?
In fact, we look forward to seeing how this is going to, turn out to be, because on the majority side, even from that particular engagement we had with leaders from both sides of the House 2 weeks ago, we know that the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, had immediately responded to the concerns of the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo, and among many other things, Eric, he had indicated that those concerns, in as much as the minority may deem them appropriate, are not sustained, because then we know last week, upon the resumption of Parliament, the Speaker read the official notice or communication from the President announcing Paul Bafuboni as the new Chief Justice, and subsequently making that referral to the appointment committee. In fact, I can confirm, and just like we reported last week Friday, on that particular day, the appointment committee held that backdoor, or what they call the preliminary meeting, to discuss the day and the modalities concerning the consideration of Justice Paul Bafuboni, after which we now know officially that next 2 weeks Monday, which is 10th November, the vetting should proceed. So when you engage the majority MPs from the back door, the understanding is that they are ready. The vetting is going to proceed as communicated and as the appointment committee has indicated. But the minority is demanding, in this memo which I have a copy of, is demanding that the Business Committee of Parliament immediately reprograms the order of the week and cause the Attorney General to be summoned before the House, or any other committee that the House will decide, to provide urgent update on all of these cases that Gertrude Arabe Saba Sakitokonu has filed at the respective court, in the High Court and at the ECOWAS Court, before we can proceed from there. Eric.
Right, and let's talk possible implications, because we know this will come up on the floor for intense debate, and then the expectation is that the Speaker will have to make a determination on this. Are we picking indications that should this motion fail to be upheld by the Speaker, we could see the minority boycott the vetting of the Chief Justice nominee?
Eric, it is very interesting to expect what is going to come out of this, because we know that the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo, on a number of occasions has indicated that his side would not boycott the vetting of the Chief Justice nominee, Paul Bafo-Boni. However, with this motion that is, in fact, signed by these respective applicants, we have Anyimedu Entry, MP for Asante Akim Central. We have John Darkon, who happens to be the legal counsel to the minority, MP for Swami. We have Gloria Owusu, MP for Trobo. And then we have Damata Salam Ama Apianima, MP for Efija Kwabre South. We have Alhassan Suleiman Atampuli, MP for Gushegu, and also Kwabena Boateng, MP for Ejiso. These are the 5 of the minority caucus who have filed this motion. These are the applicants, the 5 of them. We wait to see whether the earlier position of the minority leader that they are not going to boycott proceedings would hold, because then repeatedly on different occasions they have made that clarion call that the removal of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo was unconstitutional. But should the Speaker fail to grant this request that they are demanding, we wait to see if indeed they would boycott it, but also the expectation that it may even become a matter of debate on the floor, possible today or even tomorrow. Eric.
Christian, thank you very much for those details. That's my colleague Christian Yale in Parliament for us with details of the latest from the minority who are seeking to have the Speaker and the Business Committee of the House reschedule indefinitely the vetting of Chief Justice nominee Paul Bafo-Boni, arguing or making the case strongly that they allow all cases involving the removed Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo be dealt with in the respective courts before any such consideration can be made. We remain to see what becomes of this motion a lot later in the course of Parliament's business.
Abusua medobi bi asese wanyamre no abenye video ni bi nso ahwe in extensive manner. TV3 credit to TV3 Ghana na TV3 for na de ba bonte ma yenso yenye bia yede be TV4 tieda TV3 for us na credit to them. Yes, credit to them. Now me pa cho yeni nkomo kakra minority omunim se ade omo ye na enkwesi enko baby omunim pa omo ya we na because bibie no amu betima ye de asi hu kwan ye wo ha o ni ye wo ha no Afenyo marking Echo Court, Supreme Court. That was when the Speaker of Parliament, Adam Sumana Bagbin, the same Speaker, and the 8th Parliament, or Speaker, and the 9th Parliament, the same person, and the Speaker of Parliament. AP Babonte announced vacancy because no so I one be declare or be announced here because Speaker no or no Juma was so answer be announce it because it takes only the High Court to nullify or be make us say a member of Parliament, and I said to declare a member of Parliament say any sitting is vacant per the Constitution. So after Bibiano, the Speaker of Parliament will come out to announce, and by actions, by action. And you may be nkofo bi ye NPP nkofo bi ko ye omuko declare so omuko stand as independent candidates, na so far Speaker no hu ni say. And I said the other section, when say by omo actions no, womo say womo declare say omo nka NPP for ho. Na say mo nka ho de end there is a vacancy, and I say whether vacancy or vacancy, however we put it. Afenyo marking within the space of 2 hours, it me call Parliament. Supreme Court. I'm a Supreme Court me and panel. Judges, abo mo kotena se di asem. Yeah. Na ye wo man mu. Nelson da Fiamma po. Nesam George mo call Parliament. Ye kai bra so far NPP for the former the former government. Omo di sa ayiya ne yempe. Ye kai ye nyina ye kai levy. Omo call Parliament because say no. Omo call Supreme Court. Omo say no. Supreme Court say omo call file yemfi omo. Emma is in Kromo ba because I did case no Supreme Court. na case no Supreme Court adinti na wo say ye pass adini into bill the bill into law ye fi omo pass ye de command ma president na ado dan kwa akofo ma o assente ye to that bill and it became a law and omo sha say so omo je omo sika ai na do we so dia mo say former chief justice Tokuno wedi kan ko court ama nsem no court intinis once at the pende wo court ne de the parliament has sa omunisa jurisdiction na ombetimi aboa ma ne vet ne kra baso na asema working said the de ekufi no abaye se abaye de bot echi ne de sa aba na abo ba ma ne yi abusua interesting days ahead ye de ni hweka ye hwe de ebesi enti no me pacha de ebesi bia ye bebrem na ye ti fon so nye beti be ye nyina nim say we enko ba bia omo ye dede kwa we enko ba bia because already no Afenyo marking crapia abonti abeka say there is no way a omo side ni be boycott the vetting of the nominated chief justice Bafuboni, his lordship Bafuboni. And so if that is the case even without that in the crown there is nothing I'm betting because even if you boycott still or more numbers no betting my vetting akosade ye hu ana ye hu the vetting of the ministers and the deputy ministers no Emma nkofo bi mekai edru some George any ye foreign minister ablakwa inyema bebre sisi ye any some other people omo boycott ye yet they had the numbers and the vetting went through omo they call parliament on the floor of parliament omo debate so far there was no debate kran one omo to aba no mo pass ye ade ye hu so the ba the pan am be ya ade be ye abusia makasa kakra ye mfa nkomani nsia nyankopon hiro bibia no obi akase fa comment section e be gina kin me do bibia ase